We're here with a lawyer and a social rights campaigner, the executive director of Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, Mr. Adetokunbo Mumuni. Mr. Mumuni, it's a pleasure having you on the program.
It's a pleasure being here.
Thanks a lot. Corruption has been on the front burner of Nigerian national discourse. You recently launched a report on combating grand corruption. And part of your assessment was that the anti-corruption war of this present administration is on track. Many people are of a different opinion on that, and they disagree with that because there has not been, you've not seen a high-profile conviction of any corrupt official. So why would you say the administration's anti-corruption war is on track?
Let me start by saying that the government is supposed to be a collegiate. The executive has carved out a vision. The legislator is a partner in the government because according to Section 4, it says the legislative power of the Federation shall be in the National Assembly. Section 5 talks about the executive. Section 6 talks about the judiciary. So if the executive being the activity arm of government conceives of a vision in Nigeria that there should be an end to corruption. It is now also for the other arms of government which should work as a collegiate to key into it so that nobody is expecting a rubber stamp legislator. Nobody is also expecting a rubber stamp judiciary. But they must be ready to buy into that big idea, eradicating corruption, and do their own within their own ambit to ensure that that war is successfully fought and fought to success. What I am saying is that the executive is the activity arm of government. It is the most seen aspect of government, arm of government. If it conceives of an idea that will make the nation great, like it has fashioned out a war against corruption, it is now for the other arm of government, the legislation and the judiciary, to key into it to ensure that the war is successfully fought and won. Now, it is the business of the executive to take people to court. It is the business of the judiciary to convict people if cases made out. So that things are not going well in the other arm of government is not the business of the executive. And that is why I say this government has fashioned out a war. Unlike what it used to be in the last 2 years, we never knew of the mind-boggling theft of Nigerian resources. We know corruption has been with us since the First Republic. Remember when Nzeogbu was to carry out his revolution? He was saying the enemy of Nigeria are the 10%ers. People now steal so much that it became a revelation of some sort within the last 2 years that we are saying that 2.3 billion was assigned for armed procurement, which was not procured, but money got into private hands. That is still one aspect of national life. Imagine $2.3 billion. And it is this, I'm not here to offer excuse for the government. Problems are there to be solved. If you contested about 2-3 times and eventually find yourself in the position, you cannot say you are not prepared for it. But the level of stealing was so much that it became so. The government said this must stop. What we expect is that the other arms of government must keep doing so that the war was successfully fought. So, like what the president of the Senate and the Dogaras of this world, the House of Representatives, and the Speaker of the House was saying, that the war was noise without anything.
Showmanship,
yes, but I don't expect that from an equal arm of government. People of the same party now deriding the war. If it had been the PDP in the opposition, I would say, okay. But that's to say they are not in division. we the executive are carved out for Nigeria, and that's unfortunate. So if we take people to court, our system, the judicial system, has been decayed for some time, and if there are bottlenecks in the judiciary, what I expect that the head of the judiciary, general head of the judiciary in Nigeria, the CJ of Nigeria, should call his people together and say, what can we do to assist this war? In our way, nobody's looking for a rubber stamp judiciary, because the law of Nigeria says whoever is accused of an offense must be able to defend himself. But I say that those who say they are defending people accused of grand corruption in Nigeria, and they are cross-examining a position witness for over 8 adjournments continuously, is an abuse of the process. A judge should take care of his court, control his court, so that if anybody wants to take the process for granted, it will be stopped. That is why that is not the same as saying you have denied anybody fair hearing. A person who has the right to defend himself does not have the whole time in the world to present his case. That is the point we are making. That the other arms of government should do their own bit to see that the war is successful.
Part of your agitations has been a call for more disclosure to Nigerians about allegations of systemic corruption, even in the chambers. So will we absolve the chambers themselves? The red chambers are
the problem that I have with the National Assembly is that they are not too transparent. Citizens of Nigeria have called to know their emoluments, their total packages, but they've not been forthcoming. So if you say we are fighting corruption, there can be no opaqueness in business activity. It must be open, it must be transparent. Nigerians need to know. It is not enough to tell us about salaries. We know that salaries give, and the way things go on in government business, that salaries are always the minimal thing. What about allowances? What about other purposes of office? That must be known to Nigeria so that we can know whether we are practicing accountable democracy.
There was a recent statement you made, if you permit me to read this, that as a matter of law, this government has an obligation to promptly investigate public interest disclosure by a whistleblower, where necessary, bring suspect to justice. Can you analyze this?
No, it's as simple as saying when a whistleblows identify somebody that has committed an offense, it is incumbent of the government to thoroughly investigate and pass the thing on to the court, so that so that whoever is accused will have his day in court and the government will present its own position. As you see, the way crimes are investigated in Nigeria, I have a problem with it. When somebody is alleged to have committed an offense, what should start immediately should be discreet investigation, so that the question of the war being used as what do they call it now? Call it
which one?
No, which one thing they call it media trial. It is not the government that is doing media trial. The press is the one that is in the matter, letting Nigerians know. And it is in the level of the press, letting Nigerians know that they call media trial. I don't consider it as media trial. As a matter of fact, under the Constitution, the press has the responsibility to hold the government accountable to the people. And the press is just doing its job. That television cameras are there when somebody is accused and he is taken to court. It should not be the business of the executive. But I think whatever must be done, investigation should precede all those shows. To borrow their word, I don't believe that is a show, because in saner environments, once you are accused of malfeasance, it is a serious thing. So it is not a tea party. That's the way I see it.
Let's let me take you briefly on the fact that Sahara reporters recently released an audio tape recording of a conversation between Senator Dino Melaye and Justice of the Federal High Court in Cross River, Justice Bemen. I mean, clearly where he was bribing, I mean, in USD as a matter of fact. What's your view on this?
You see, I have this problem with those who people are legislative chambers. You see, it goes to the point of how do we elect our leaders? Who do we elect? Are the procedure for electing those who will represent us fair and democratic enough so that we'll have the best? That's a matter for another day. But let us concede to the person that is being accused that it is still an allegation. Now that thing has gone public, it is now the business of the law enforcement agents, the anti-corruption bodies, to now do a thorough investigation now and see whether an offense has truly been committed and he should be taken to justice. He has no immunity. That I know. The number of Nigerians that has immunity at any point in time will be 74. 72 governors and deputies, the president and vice president, maximum 74 at any 4-year time. I will continue to wonder, why would investigation of some people take place? The law Ganified was a matter done by Ganified in the Supreme Court said a person who cannot be prosecuted can be investigated. All you simply do is investigating, and when the time expires. But as for Dino Melaye, he has no immunity. There is no law that says a senator cannot be taken to court once he commits an offense. So it is now for the anti-corruption agencies or the law enforcement agents to do their work and see whether any offense has been committed and take the matter up. Great.
During the course of this interview, we were talking about the judiciary. Today, we had a report that the NJC looked at the suspension of Justice Adetokunbo and 5 other judges to resume duty. What is wrong with the judiciary?
You said the NJC?
NJC, exactly, lifted the suspension based on the corruption allegations against Justice Adetokunbo and 5 other judges.
I have a different opinion. You see, what should have happened? I don't see how I would be a litigant. And a judge has been accused of impropriety, financial, and I will still have a free mind to appear before that particular judge for him to be the one to handle my case. That means the streams of justice is already polluted in my mind, and I will not have confidence in the system. You see, sometimes legal guilt is not the same thing as social guilt. You see, the requirements of criminal jurisprudence is proved beyond reasonable doubt. But social guilt is not as tough as that. Once people in the society, members of the community, start seeing something that is awkward, their mind is already made up. If justice, whoever is accused, a judge that is accused of impropriety, I would take the liberty to resign rather than continue to sit. That's the way I see it. So that the NJC has now lifted suspension, it is still in consonance with our law. But I conclude that social justice is different from legal justice.
Finally, the president has been away, and the vice president was supposed to have signed the budget on Wednesday, but the cabal, so to say, was alleged to have prevented the vice president from signing the budget. I mean,
no. I don't think we have a vice president now. We have an acting president. We have an acting president. So if that is so, the Constitution has already invested the vice president with the power of the president in his capacity as the acting president. That a cabal is somewhere, I consider it pedestrian gossip. What the law has shown us that must exist. And I would say, if the vice president is satisfied with what has been presented to him, he cannot tell us that a cabal prevented him from doing his work. That's why I say it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adetokunbo.
You are welcome.
We really appreciate your time. So I hope that we can always call on you anytime we have a show. Thank you very much.